Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Shebo Crew. It's your girl Smiley B, and today is a super special episode. It's the first time I've ever gonna have a guest host as well as a guest speaker onto the show today. So I'm super excited. Great topic today. Great ladies that's going to be speaking today. So I want to go ahead and introduce these ladies. My guest host is Eva G. She goes by Eva G. I'm going to let her introduce herself here briefly. But also, we have a special guest speaker by the name of Santoria Sawyer. You've probably heard of her. She's awesome. She's super awesome. She's an author, a published author, as well as a speaker. She goes and speaks publicly, and she also is an entrepreneur. So she is the Jacqueline of all trades, is what she likes to call herself. And I love that because we know that the Jack would not be able to do all those things and be a mother, okay? So I am super excited. I'm going to let these ladies introduce themselves. Go ahead, Eva.
Yes, like she said, I go by Eva G. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so honored to be a guest, and I'm looking forward to hearing some great words of wisdom from Santoria. So yeah, I know Rakita because practically my whole life. This is my cousin. I'm so proud of her and this platform that she has, and I'm just really excited to see what Shebo Crew does in the future. And I'll go ahead and hand it off to Santoria. Let us know about you.
Yes, can you ladies hear me well?
Yes, we can. Yep.
Awesome. I'm excited. Thank you for having
Yes.
the show. One of these days
Yes.
we'll be able to do this in person as soon
Yes.
as our restrictions start to lift. So
Right.
yes, I'm excited. And congratulations, Rakita, on getting this show off the ground. I know we talked briefly before, and I'm just like, wow, like, yeah, I'm really, really proud of you for making it happen, making your dreams come true, and just really just taking the steps necessary to make this thing really come into fruition. So I'm excited to be on here. But yeah, so just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Santoria, as they said. I'm 28 years. Oh, actually, no. Wow, I just had a birthday last week, so I'm 29
Oh
now.
wow, happy
Happy
birthday.
belated
Yes.
Thank
birthday.
you. Girl,
I'm a
I
part of the
look. I just
29 club too, girl. My birthday was
see.
the 30th.
I'm gonna tell everybody I'm 28 forever. Like
I
I love.
know.
20. It was a great 28. I had a blast at 28. Made a lot of life decisions at 28 that have just been incredible. So I just love that age. But anyways, I guess I'm 29. I'm a single mama to a beautiful and vivacious, just lively 3-year old. Oh my gosh, she's like
Okay.
looking at herself in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
She is hilarious. And also too, I am an author. I'm a published author. I'm a speaker. I am an entrepreneur. I'm also a real estate investor. And a lot of people don't know, but I actually work for the largest black owned architecture firm in the country. So
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
manage all of the marketing for that company for our Nashville, DC, Boston, and New York offices.
Oh
And
my
Oh
so it
wow.
keeps me
gosh.
really, really busy, really, really busy. Like I do that about 40 hours a week, normal like everyone else, work a job. But also, like I said, on the side, I work on my dreams too. So it keeps me very
Amazing.
busy, but I love what I do. I love helping people. I love doing things like this, getting to meet young ladies like yourself and just have some conversation, right? So I'm looking forward to it. So
Yes.
let's get going, honey.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Jacqueline of
Thank
all
you.
trades is correct.
Okay. Honey, like that is a perfect title. Like all those things and all those hats that you wear, like that is
Mhm.
amazing. And to not only do all those things and be so great at those things, but to continue to carry a great energy, a positive
Right.
energy, and just the vibe that you have, like that's amazing. Usually you hear someone doing all those things like they don't even have the time or the energy to like give off good vibes. So it's like the fact that you're doing that and still giving back and still empowering women and being a great mother, like that in itself is
Absolutely.
just empowering. And I just thank you so much for making the time to be here. You could be anywhere else doing anything else, but you're here and I appreciate that.
Yes, we appreciate you.
Of course, of course. No problem. Like I said, I'm super excited about it. And honey, when I talk to people about it, they're like, "How are you able to do all that after been through all you've been through? Still do all that and do it with such grace?" I'm like, "Honey, let me just make one thing very clear. It ain't nothing but the grace of God
I
because
know that's right.
uh,
Yes.
listen, I don't know how.
Amen.
I'll be like, wait a minute, how am I doing all this? It's supernatural. That's what
It
it is. That's
is.
why I got no control over it.
It is. You said it. That's exactly what it is. And definitely I give glory to God, and it just makes me, know that it's possible, because it's tough, but it's possible, and I'm
Hmm.
so excited to hear
Right,
your
and so
story.
motivational to
Yes.
other ladies like you. We all have children out here, and you find the energy to get some stuff done. Now I'm feeling like I'm not doing enough. So after we
Right.
leave here,
Not wrong. You
We
doing
need to go get our
exactly what
vision
God got
boards
you to do.
together,
correct.
okay? And that's what I was saying. It's so crazy because, like Santoria said, this was something that I definitely manifested. But when I would watch her stories and I started following her, and I would, pay attention to the statuses that she was posting, and I'm like, I have to meet this
Right.
woman. Like, I have to meet her. Something in my spirit is telling me to reach out. And I did just that. I didn't even have a microphone yet, but I said, I want to create a podcast, a platform that we can speak about, everything women, and, at the end of the day, empower women, educate women, and be of some support to these women out here. And so I reached out to her, and she, got back to me with the quickness and was just so open to it, and never had met me. But just based off of what I
Mhm.
told her, she just, she believed it. She, complimented me on the business name and what I was going through, and encouraged me in the same breath, like, you're going to make it happen. And here we are several months later,
Speak it
and
into
it's,
existence.
it's happening. So that is
So
so
exciting.
Man.
exciting.
Yes.
Yes. So today our topic is FHT, and
Mm.
that is forgiveness, healing, and therapy. And I know you guys are probably thinking, like, that's three topics in one. And yes, it is. However, in this part of my life and growing, I had to, come to a realization. I had,
Do you feel
and
like they intertwine, or do you
yes,
feel
I
like it's
feel
like a process? One step would be, forgiveness. One step healing, or and the next step therapy. Or you feel like it all
there are
intertwines and at the
definitely
same.
steps and levels to it, but I feel like they all intertwine.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though, forgiveness is important in life itself, and not enough people know how to forgive, or they are not even knowledgeable that they have not forgiven. They just,
Mm.
like, live their life however they see fit, and that's fine too. But I do, for my personal journey, I know that I had to forgive a lot of people in my life in a lot of different situations in order to heal, because I feel like you're not going to fully heal
Mm-hmm.
if you don't forgive, that person or the situation. And then therapy is what helped me to realize that. So yeah, I do feel as though they intertwine, and they're
Hmm.
definitely, you know, constantly on my mind
Mm.
as I go through my journey with life and meeting different people, and kind of, letting go of people out of my life as
Mm.
well, and learning
Hmm.
that you can forgive and heal and still remove people out of your life, and, take those lessons for what they are. But Santoria, um, one of the reasons that too, I reached out to you last year was because I heard your story, and I heard you speak of your story, and amongst everything else that you shared, your story in itself is super powerful. So if you're open to it, I would love for you to, share your personal experience with forgiveness, healing, and therapy.
Yeah. So, forgiveness. Ooh, they all kind of so different. So,
Right.
like you said, they intertwine because it's really more so like levels. Like I think
Yes.
there's
Mm-hmm.
the it's like forgiveness is only the beginning, right? But then that
Yes.
journey, the healing that comes afterwards, ooh, that can be a dirty business. And then therapy, like you said, definitely plays a part in both of the two. So for me, when in terms of like forgiveness, a lot of people don't. If you read my book, it talks a lot about forgiveness, and that's because it was quintessential to my healing. Like it is quintessential to me having any type of success or being able to move forward in life. I always tell you it's literally the missing piece to a lot of people's like success. Like
Mm.
it's like very hard to continue or to grow in any type of facet or form if
Right.
you're holding. bitterness or baggage from someone who's done you wrong. Like that, you hear it all the time. They over there getting sleep at night, and you sitting over there
Right.
carrying this weight that's not yours to carry. So my personal story is, my book, The Broken Crayon That Colored Still, is my journey from child molestation to college graduation. And in that book, I detail how I was molested by my stepfather for almost a year, until the day he tried to cut my fingers off. And the day that he tried to cut my fingers off, I knew, like, I have to get help. I have to get out of here, because up until that point, he had been, threatening me with a gun and scaring me using normal tactics that pedophiles use on children. And so for me at the time, like, I was terrified to tell. But when I finally did tell, walk downtown, I snuck away. I took my siblings. We walked into the police station, and I told.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I detail that whole thing in my book. It's kind of heartbreaking sometimes even for me to go back and read. But like I said, I walked my younger siblings downtown into the police department, and I said, hey, I need help, and they rescued us right away. Well, my stepfather, when they captured him, he's mentally ill, and because of that, he got a lesser sentence, so he only served 8 years in prison versus what he was originally facing. And again, it's not something that I'm not necessarily upset about it, because again, he's mentally ill, and I know that a lot of the things he did to me came out of that illness. And so that also played a huge role in me being able to forgive him, because I was like, well, you know what? This is the enemy. Mental illness is the trick of the enemy. It's not even a trick. It's real. It's very real. But the enemy uses that to really keep people in bondage and can have them doing some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so a lot of people, it's so funny to me, they believe in God, but they don't believe in the devil. Like, they don't want to talk about the enemy. They don't think he's just as real. He is just as real. And because of that, he wreaks havoc in people's minds and their lives and causes them to make bad decisions. And so sometimes for me, I know being, like I said, a believer has played a huge role in my level of forgiveness, because one, I want God to forgive me. Two, because he asked us to forgive the people that trespass against us. And three, because at the end of the day, these people that are doing wrong against us, I view it as, again, the enemy.
Yes.
It's the enemy. That's literally the enemy. And he's just using these people as a vehicle to kill, steal, and destroy.
Right.
That's what he does. He uses people as a vehicle. So when you view things in that light, it does make things a little easier for you to forgive. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not easy by any means. It makes it easier to forgive, but it's definitely challenging. And I write in my book that forgiveness is not a one-time thing. Sometimes people think when you forgive someone that's it. No, I have to do it over and over again, because see, what happened to me, which again brings me to the next level of my forgiveness journey, and probably what was the hardest thing, was with my mother. Because after my stepfather served 8 years in prison, he got out and my mother took him back. They are both, they're still married to this day. They still, reside together. So at the end of the day, that was probably the most heartbreaking thing to me. That was something that took me a long time to forgive her for, really deep down inside. And honestly, it sent me on a spiral out of control, like after college, because I really was really hurt by it. And so, and a lot of people didn't know, it was all very hidden, but I was out of control, and I was really just making some pretty bad decisions and putting myself in jeopardy because of the pain that I was carrying from my mother's decision. I felt unchosen. I felt like a motherless child. I felt like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so despicable and dirty that you would choose him over me? Like, and I made it all about me and all about her, when again, I just had to take a few steps back. So eventually I did forgive my mom. I did forgive her for her decision. And again, that was tough on me, but again, I looked at it the same way I looked at my stepdad. Like, one, my mom's inability to choose me is not a reflection on me. It's a reflection on her. Okay. It's a reflection on how she feels about herself. She feels that she's not worthy for a better companion. She feels that she's not worthy to walk away. She feels unable to be without him. She feels like she's in love with him and she needs him. That is not a reflection on me. That is a reflection on her. And again, though, the enemy has planted those seeds in her mind. The enemy has created situations and circumstances to where she feels like she doesn't deserve better. My mom is a victim just like I was, and that the way she processed it and internalized it is a lot different than I did, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing my story, because I want people to process it better so that way they don't continue to allow the cycle to repeat with their kids. And so, fast forward, like I said, that's my journey with forgiveness. It's something I have to do every day. It's something I sometimes have to do. She'll call me sometime, and when she mentions his name, I'll feel triggered, or anything that can trigger. But guess what? It's something I do over and over again, because I'd rather be faced with the opportunity to forgive over and over again than sit up here and carry that burden with me. Like, that's not mine to carry. I got too much other stuff going on to be dragging around that baggage. You know what I'm saying? So I choose to love her past her pain. I choose to love her past her insecurity. I choose to feed and speak life into her, because I want God to continue to do those things for me. So
Powerful.
Absolutely.
That is
that
so
that
powerful.
yep.
Wow.
That
I
is
don't
so
know if
powerful.
it's the Taurus in me, but my goodness, I don't think that I've been through nearly what you have. And for me, forgiveness, oh my
It's
goodness,
been a
I just feel
struggle.
like when you forgive,
It's been a struggle for her. It has.
I just feel like when you forgive someone, it just opens up, it leaves that door open for them to come in and disappoint you again. And I don't know, it's just hard for me to move forward from certain things. So I don't even know if I've forgiven people, just cut them out of my
Yeah.
life and move forward,
Yeah.
move on, don't talk to you, don't address it.
And I think that that's where forgiveness comes is different for a lot of people, because forgiveness for you may be
Right, looks
okay.
different.
Yeah, I'm no longer angry about it, but I still don't want you in my space. Or I'm no longer angry about it, and you can still remain in my space, but now I'm constantly walking on eggshells with you, or I'm keeping this eye on you. And I feel like, and that's where I say it all kind of comes in, because it's like I feel like once you forgive someone, like she said, it's the beginning. And so it's the healing that really brings that clarity to you, to where it's like, okay, I'm healing from this situation, but do I still want to have these triggers around me? And
Right.
it might be more difficult, because like you said, it's your mother, and she was a victim as well. And that's what's so crazy, is a lot of times the people who've hurt us have been hurt as
Ooh.
well. And I said that, when I was younger, I had to learn that, hurt people hurt people. And so when people would do certain things to me, and I would wonder why, my parents weren't what I needed them to be, or when they would let me down, and I always would have, I had to find a way as a young child to kind of to cope with that. And so I started to realize, like, well, when the drugs and the alcohol come involved, and I see the addiction that was in my family and in the household, it was like, okay, they're doing that for a reason. They're doing that to mask their hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
hurt people. And so when you said you know re-forgiving, and just kind of constantly, over and over, it's like that really resonates with
Right.
me, and it touched me somewhere, because it's like I find myself doing that, and I repent all the time, and I tell God, and I'm like, Lord, I don't want to fail you, but I keep feeling like I'm taking steps forward, and then just to take more steps back, because I start to feel that resentment again, or that anger again. But then, like I said, where my therapy came in was like having someone who was unbiased and didn't know my family, or didn't know the people who hurt me, tell me, like, you're this is kind of, at this point, you know it's just a lifelong journey. You're going to have to continue to just keep pushing forward, and practicing those things that you did to forgive that person, and to really fully heal.
Well, for those of us that forgiving the first time doesn't come easy, when you when you guys say re-forgive, are you telling me that you literally speak those words? You're literally saying, "I forgive you," and then that person's like, "What? Like, I don't even know what I did this time." Or is it more of a mental thing? Like, what do you guys mean when you say re-forgive? What does that look like?
For me, it's more of an internal thing. Like, it's more of a now.
I
Don't get me wrong.
agree.
I have to now. Certain things do need to be addressed. Like, if somebody is triggering you with something. Like, I've had to have conversation with my mom. Like, Mom, I really don't want to hear that. I really don't want need to know about that situation. Or this,
Yes.
this, this. Back and more so in the beginning than I do now. But when he first came home, I had to tell her. I had to set boundaries. So here's the
Yes.
thing with
Okay.
forgiveness. People don't understand, and I think Forgiveness, number one, it does not require reconnection. I have forgiven people and still cut them off. I've forgiven them and say, you know what, but I cannot continue to, because you're into, that's just, I can't. Especially if you're going to
Yes.
continue to move in that way. Okay, so I'm like, no, I have forgiven people that I'm like, I just choose not to deal with you. Now, other people, like my mother, I have to have her in my life, or the father of my child. You know, he did some terrible things to me that, you know, I keep hidden, I keep quiet. You know what I'm saying? He and I were supposed to get married, and I don't really talk about that situation much because of the fact that he's the father of my child, and because I'm working through that forgiveness that that I'm working on for him. And I know that anything I say out there, or anything if I act maliciously and put out there all the things he's done, one day my daughter's going to hear that. And I want to be able to tell her from a healed place and not a hurt place. And so what I do
Absolutely.
is that, like, but I'm still working through that, right? I'm still working through that. So, like, certain people, I have to have a relationship with him because he's the father of my child. I have to have a relationship with my mom because she's my mother. So because of that, you know what I'm saying? It required reconnection. Everybody that you forgive, it does not require reconnection, but everybody that you forgive, feel clear, feel empowered enough to set boundaries with them. So, like, just setting those boundaries with my mother has allowed me to get to a place where I don't feel like I'm re-forgiving her every day. Because God said, no, when I mean re-forgive, sometimes I forgive her for stuff that she don't even do. It's not even that she did nothing. For example, when I gave birth to my daughter, I thought I had forgiven my mom. But when I gave birth to my daughter, it brought up so many emotions. Because I looked at this beautiful little person. I thought to myself, how?
Right.
How could do this to their dog? How could I not choose her? Because the love that I feel towards this baby right now, I could never let something happen like that to her and then go sleep with the man who did it to her. Are you kidding me? I could not process that. So, like, I was struggling with feeling a levels of resentment towards her again. And I'm like, wait a minute, God, I already forgave her for this. What's going on? And you just kind of have to work through that with God. I didn't bring that up to her and make her pay for it, though, because that's not true forgiveness, is making them pay for
Right.
something that you already forgive them for. It's that you have to have conversations with yourself and remind yourself of the forgiveness that you've granted them, and remind yourself of the forgiveness that you've been granted by God, and just be like, you know what? All right, I'm forgiven, so I'm going to forgive. And like, oh, this is hard. But then talk to God about it. Talk to your circle about it. Talk to your therapist about it, right? Like, so again, for me, a huge thing that happened for me was back in April or May. I would say it was April, May of 2019. I started going to therapy. And therapy, oh my gosh, it has changed everything. Like, number one is the reason why I actually went to therapy in the first place was I published my book in February of 2019. That book told a story about a certain season in my life, my journey from child molestation to college graduation. What that book did for me was gave me permission to heal.
Yes.
The reason why I put it out there is because I wanted to close that door, and I wanted to give myself permission to let it go, permission to heal, permission to move forward into the healing. Because all up until that point, I had just been coping, and coping and healing is not the same. Coping is what you do to survive. Healing is what you do to thrive. So I wanted to thrive. I was ready to step into my thriving season, my season of favor. And because of that, I knew I needed to go to therapy because I needed to start healing. And so I've been in therapy since then. Now I maybe see my therapist maybe once a month because I don't need to as much anymore. But when I first was going, I was going often, weekly if I had to, because I was so desperate to get that healing. And it was like I said, it was a dirty business. And while I was going through therapy is while I was going through things with the father of my child at the time. And because of that, I was actually found myself for the first year of therapy. I was really in therapy for the trauma that he had caused me. So I wasn't even able to really start to heal from the things that my mother and my stepfather done, because I was spending so much time healing from now the new trauma that he had caused me. And so, like I said, it was a whole therapy but it saved me. I'm so glad that I was in therapy when those things happened to me with him, because I couldn't imagine if I wasn't in therapy and those things happened, and I would have had to process and deal with those things, deal with canceling my wedding, deal with all the stuff that I had to deal with at that time, when he and I were going through, on top of trying to process this now new journey of healing that I was on from my childhood. So therapy, though, like I said, I recommend it to everybody. I always tell people therapy is everything. It is worth the investment in yourself. If you can go out and buy some shoes or go to the bar and spend $30 at the bar, you can spend $30 to $60 on a session, a copay with your therapist.
Okay,
Right. Right. The
for
shoes can
sure.
wait.
And no, seriously,
Right.
because you gonna be walking around in them shoes looking all cute, but your mental gonna be all messed up, or you emotionally not right. You know what I'm saying? And so
And you're going to
it
affect other people's lives.
yes, and you have to prioritize. And I feel like because people hear therapy and it just brings a sense of like judgment or feeling like just I feel like people don't really have a good reason. When I ask people, why don't you go to therapy, or those who don't go to therapy, they're like, oh, because I just don't feel like talking to a stranger and telling them my business, or it's not gonna help. And it's like, how do you know? You didn't try. You know what I'm saying? And not to mislead anyone, therapy is awesome, but it's also a journey, and it takes time. As Santoria said, you're not going to go into the first session and the second session and come out in new skin. That's not going to happen. But what you will start to see and start to feel the progression and the healing. And for me, it was more so understanding, because as she said, when I was going to therapy, I thought it was from my childhood traumas and what had, triggered me to have anxiety. And, I wasn't able to be as social as I usually was, because I was like, I don't want to put myself in a position to be triggered. But
Did either of you go to therapy as children, or was this as adults?
as an adult, for me.
Yeah, for me, when I first so I don't know if I don't know if I think it's protocol, but like when you experience some type of childhood trauma, or specifically for me, like I said, childhood molestation, when I experienced that, they sent me to like referred me to a child therapist at the time. But I went to one session, and I was a kid, and I wish my mom would have been more diligent about it, but she wasn't at the time. But I wish, like I told my mom, I didn't feel like I needed it. Like I was like, I'm like, after
Right.
everything happened, I went to one session, and it was like I kind of knew what she was doing to me, like, or what she was trying to get me to say and do, and I was just kind of like, this is really not. I wanted to just put my head down and just focus on it, like just with like I developed a very it was a healthy coping mechanism, in a sense where it wasn't like drugs or it wasn't alcohol or nothing, but my coping mechanism was success. So, and that
Yes.
could be healthy and unhealthy, because for
Yes.
me, I was like, oh, I'm about to win now. I got to go. Ohio State's going to pay me to go to their school. I'm about to be the number one in my class. I'm going to go get all these money for school, for scholarships. I'm going to go I'm going to be a multimillionaire. And even now I find myself, success is my drug. You know what I'm saying? Winning is
Mm.
my drug. So it's like, for me, that's what I saw. I was like, I don't want to do this emotional stuff. I don't want to be all
Yes.
emotional, mushy stuff. I'm logical. I'm like, I just want to go win.
Yes.
Let's go win. Let's just, okay, it happened. Let's move on.
And yeah, because like I was saying, too, with therapy, it provides a different level of understanding, and it like really forces you to unpack a lot of things. And it's like, well, I'm coming to therapy for this is what I thought I was coming for. But like she said, it's like it starts to unravel a whole bunch of different things. And it's like, wow. So for like the first couple sessions, I was just like boohoo crying. I hadn't cried, that hard or that long in a long time. I feel like the first couple sessions I just was crying, but I felt a sense of relief, and I just felt like it was safe. Like I didn't feel like my therapist was just sitting there wondering when I was going to stop crying. I mean, she was just handing me tissues and really just letting me take that time to really just unload that, because like she said, it's really just a whole emotional roller coaster, but it's so worth it. And it does provide just that understanding on a different level for me. And so, as she stated in the beginning, I was going pretty frequently. And as I started to feel myself, heal, I was kind of even scared to step away. And she's like, okay, well, now I don't have to see you as often, maybe once a month, every other month. And I'm like, hold on, wait.
Right. Ma'am.
This has became a big part of my life
Mm-hmm.
now. This is a part of my schedule. I get off work, I go get my kids, I drop them up to my mother, and I look forward to this session. Now I have to,
Do it on my
do,
own. You just
and now
throwing
I
me out
have
there.
to, my schedule has to change, and but it helped me, and it continues to help me, and to know that it's still there, and I can still, if I feel that I need more frequent sessions, that's available as well. But ultimately, it's just like it's really really necessary, and I feel like what you said with the age thing. I don't know how old you were, Santoria, when you experienced the molestation and the abuse. How old were you?
I was 12 years old.
Oh wow. And I was telling my cousin, and I said, I my son, he's 9 years old. He just recently turned 9, my oldest, and I'm so thankful that he is so intertwined with his emotions, and he's able to express his emotions. And since he was 5 years old, I remember, me and my son we went to hang out, we went shopping, we did a few things. And afterwards he said, Mom, he said, I feel so happy I can cry right now. And I was like, he's like, I think I'm about to cry. And I was like, why? Well, why do you, feel like you want to cry? And he's like, I'm just so thankful for you, you doing this for me. And he was 5 years old, and, he's a little boy. And it's like, it really touched me. I was, so amazed that my son felt so safe, and he really was able to internalize his emotions before he even got emotional. You know how you got kids that just cry, and you're like, what's the matter? Like, what are you crying for? Like, use your words. But he's been able to
Mhm.
do that since he was, 5. And so I even still feel like, even though I feel like I am the best mother that I can be, and I'm giving him the best that I know how, and I pray, for guidance every day as a mother, but I still feel like, I would like my son to see a therapist, just because there might be things that I might not be doing, so great, or maybe he feels that, he wants to talk to someone about, or maybe they'll be able to pull certain things out of him and just kind of help him understand even more as he grows into a man. Because,
Mhm.
we know men don't really like to show their emotions. They want to be all tough, and they don't want to cry, some men, and they don't want to, show
The
that
softer side.
vulnerability. But I want my son to know that no matter how old he gets or whatever he goes through, that is something that he always can do. He's human, and regardless of his gender, he's able and entitled to his emotions. And I'm super, I feel so strong on that, like kids getting into therapy, and
Mhm.
regardless, because like you said, Santoria, you want to be able to talk to your daughter from a place of healing, you
Right.
know but when a kid gets somewhere, and they grow up, and you talk to them about certain experiences. I feel like, the first time my son, experienced any type of, his first racial experience at school, where a kid said something about him, being a black kid. It was like, even explaining that to him, it was like, I didn't really know how, but I did the best that I could. And he still was just like, but I don't understand, Mom, we're all the same, so it's just one of those things that I feel, is very important, even at a young age.
Mhm. I agree. I agree 100%. So, I encourage it at any, yeah, like you said, any ages. Yep.
So it
Yeah.
sounds like therapy is necessary. So you're
Well,
so
you
you're
said
telling me.
with your daughter, you said, you seen,
Right. Yes. With my 8 year old, there were behavior changes at school. And I reached out. I got her counselor. She would meet with once a week. Come to find out, she was frustrated about things in school, and we found out, she had some vision problems and some hearing problems, and she had to go to several appointments, and she was just so frustrated. So if a child would say or do one thing that would seem just so minor, she would flip out, freak out, and here I am just not understanding. And I'm so happy I did something that wasn't very familiar to me at that time, and reached out and got her someone to talk to. And come to find out, it was such an easy fix. And now, I mean, that was the best decision we made. She knows how to express herself better. More importantly, we got my baby some glasses. She could see out here. She could see the board, and she's not as frustrated. But I know for
Mhm.
myself, I, I, I do think that eventually I should go and speak to a therapist.
absolutely.
I feel like in my 28 years, I've just been trying to deal with it my own way, different phases. hanging out with friends or, running track. And I just felt like I handled it in my own way. I don't know if therapy has to be where you literally sit in front of, a doctor, a psychiatrist, or, I mean, is that what it has to look like? Is
Well,
I don't know if that's what it necessarily has to look like, but I think, when we talk about therapy, like, there's groups. I mean, there's different ways to do it, but I do firmly believe you talk to a trained professional and not just like some of these groups. Like, it's funny because I have a love hate relationship with the app Clubhouse.
mm-hmm.
Um, on there are experts that are not experts at all in their industries, and they're giving people terrible information, terrible advice. And so, when it comes to something like your mental health, and you're going to be diving in deep and dealing with trauma, I believe you should definitely talk to a professional, someone who's been trained in trauma informed therapy, because and a lot of times, even if it's just you feel like there's something you might want to work out, you never know. They could dig up things in your past that you may have like buried or like literally just,
mm-hmm.
just put aside and never even thought about again. You know what I mean? And you're just like, okay, I shrugged that off, and you never even realize like, oh wow, it's had a residual effect on my actions. You know what I mean? And so that's why, but I encourage you to go, if anybody who's like considering therapy or counseling, make sure it still is with a trained professional,
Absolutely.
someone who's
Yes.
licensed to be able to give you that advice.
Yes, and that just made me remember too, because and the reason why I feel that therapy is important too is because I thought I was just going to, unload my emotional, baggage onto this woman, and for her to just tell me how to deal with it. But she also brought me a different understanding of how the brain works. The brain is
Mhm.
so powerful, and it literally it was just so crazy to learn how the brain works, and it helped me so much even with my anxiety, not only because certain things still don't trigger me, or certain things may not upset me or whatever, but just kind of being able to take the time to be like, okay, relax, you're okay, calm down, breathe in, like, because your mind does certain things based off of how you're feeling in that moment. So when I would get all, anxious, and I would feel like the walls were closing in on me, I had to, realize like you're sending yourself to a panic, because instead of taking a deep breath and really just relaxing and taking control over your emotions, I kind of let my brain do all the work. And so your brain has you know, um, these triggers, and it's like, you know your brain will induce panic. It will induce panic sometimes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I
those
would
panic
be
attacks ain't
anxious,
nothing
but
to
then
play
I
with.
would go into a panic attack and
Mm-hmm.
be like, wait, I was just fine, I was just sitting here talking with but I was sitting there silently getting myself worked up. And so people will see me in a panic, and they're like, wait, where did that just come from? But they didn't know what I was
Right.
going through internally. So with therapy too, it really helps you understand how your brain works, and that helps you also understand your emotions on another level. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I learned that too. So because I do, if I've been telling you this. I feel that growing up together, and I see, and you're still a great person. I feel that there are some things that you may hold on to, and when we have our conversations and I hear you speak, and I'm like, I just wish you would give it a try. Like, I really do. I feel like you're gonna feel so much better, and you're gonna feel that relief, and you're gonna be excited really about that new unfound understanding, because you're one of those people that love to learn. You always have a million and one questions. So I feel like that would also help you too.
I agree that I'm a great person, as you stated. As you stated, I
I'm weak.
just, I just put up this wall. I don't like to tell adults, grown people, what I feel like they did wrong to me. I feel like you should know, and it just
Mm.
makes me put up this wall, and I don't want to put myself in this situation again. So it's more so, I guess for me it's more of, okay, I forgave you in my head, but I'm definitely gonna go this way. If we meet up in 3 years, maybe we can talk about it. I really don't know. But I may have some. I'm a Taurus, guys. I don't know. Bullheaded. We're gonna blame it on that. We're gonna blame it on that.
Yeah, and like I said, that's just something that you can definitely, you meet with up with somebody, and they'll work that out with you, more professional. Because as your girls, like in your friends and stuff, people can always give you advice, but you never know what the deeper meaning to that is until you really dig into it.
Yes, I agree. And I was saying that too. Like, all solicited advice isn't good advice, you know? Everybody, especially if someone doesn't really understand, their
Mm,
advice is coming from a different place. Not that it's a malicious place, but they're just telling you what they know, which might not always be what's right or what you need to hear, or, at that moment.
Right.
So I completely agree, like what she said. Like, you want to have, that trained professional, someone who does not know you, does not know your history, and is able to provide that understanding for you. Um,
mm.
How do you
but
guys feel like it affects you now, motherhood? You have your childhood traumas. How do you feel like that affects you with your kids? Are you super overprotective? Do you worry? Have you developed anxiety? Like, how you guys handling that?
well,
Um,
oh, go ahead.
but if you want to go first, yeah, go first.
No, I was just gonna say, it definitely made me really overprotective. I feel like in the beginning, because too, I was a young mom. I had my first kid when I was 19, so I was still growing as well, and so besides all of the cruelty that I've seen in the world, and the different things that I experienced in my life, I just know how the world is. I was still really young and in the world, and so I was just like, I don't want my son going here, there. He wasn't really allowed to stay overnight. I would try to go hang out and have you know, a kid free night, but I always found myself like, I want to go get my son and just spend that time with him and love with him because, my childhood traumas was more so result in abandonment and feeling abandoned and not, as Santoria said, even chosen because I felt like, my parents and them struggling with their addiction, I felt like they chose that over me. They both really was in that life most of my life, and until I was an adult, so I felt abandoned. And so for me, I just never wanted my son to feel that.
Right.
And so I will always feel like, and even now sometimes I struggle with it. He's older and he's like, Mom, why you always calling me like when he leaves for the weekend? And
Mm,
he told me the last weekend he meant to block me, and I'm like, you
Give
better
me your
not
phone.
block your mom. But I find myself constantly, um I would say, overcompensating in that area. Like, I just feel like I always want to tell my son I love him and I'm thinking about him, and I choose him over everything other than God.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But I choose my kids over everything other than God because I want them to feel that, and I don't want them to ever go looking in the wrong places for that love or that intention, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't want that to lead them down the path that only God can protect them from. So,
mm-hmm. Yep, I'm right there with you. I agree with you on that. And then also too, I know for me, like when it comes to what it did for me in motherhood, is that like I don't want to necessarily say I'm overprotective. I feel like I'm just as protective as most parents need to be. Like parents need to ask questions. Parents need to be involved. What do you mean your business? What do you mean? Oh, give them a little bit of no. What do you mean? What do you mean? This is my job is to protect. And in a world where I see danger, it is my job to
Mm-hmm.
protect them. Like what? What do you mean? What? To me, it's baffling to me when people are like, oh, I just give my kids a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? No, just oh you gotta no, I'm gonna ask questions. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? I need you to call me. I need to lay eyes on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so even with my daughter, like she's only 3, but when she goes with her father, you know what I'm saying, like I call her every single day. I call her every single day when she's with her. I don't care. I'm gonna FaceTime. I'm gonna lay
yes.
eyes on her. And not only just for protection or out of fear, but just to I want my daughter to know I am always with you. I want to have that relationship with my daughter where it's like, oh, it's not just me and you separate, or when you go with your dad, you're with him, you're with me. No, I'm always with you. I am
Right.
always going to be your mother, whether you're with him part time or whatever, couple of days a week, whatever you are. I'm still here, and you can talk to me about anything. I need her to know that I'm checking up on her whenever she's with anybody. So I call and I FaceTime her all the time because I'm like, I need to lay eyes on my daughter. Like, as soon as we're done with this here, I'm going to lay eyes on her because
Right.
she needs to hear my voice. She needs to know before she goes to sleep at night, hey, baby, mommy loves you, just the same as if she was here. And then, by doing that, you just build that trust with your kids.
Right.
I want her to think that when she's with somebody else, that mommy's no. When she's with somebody else, she's gonna know because I'm gonna be calling her every day and talking to her like, no, my mommy's still checking on me. How's she doing? And my daughter, she come home, she tell me stuff. That's my baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's like my little best friend. But I will say, like, more of those emotions. I had to work through therapy with that. So that was again. I started therapy in 2019. I had my baby in 2017. So I went through postpartum depression for a whole year afterwards. And then,
It's
like I said,
real. It's
yeah,
real.
it was crazy. And it was just amplified because of some traumatic things that I had went through with her father. And so, what I'm saying, because of that, I was in therapy initially because I was like, yo, I'm saying I gotta work this out. And then while I was in therapy, it was bringing up some of those fears that I had, and a lot of times, and this is why it's so crazy because a lot of people don't know this about me, and this is probably the first time I've ever said this on a show or an interview. But my trauma actually kept me in a relationship longer than what I needed to be in because I was so terrified of my daughter having a stepfather. I was so terrified of not being able to be around my daughter 24/7 that I was willing. I used to tell my therapist, like, oh, my therapist used to talk to me about the trauma I was experiencing in my relationship. And she used to tell me, well, Santoria, what makes you feel, what are you feeling? Why are you afraid to leave? And I used to tell her it was because of the trauma that I had been through. I never wanted my daughter to have a step parent. I never wanted to not be around her. I needed control. But my therapist is a Christian woman, and she told me, like, because like I said, I told her, I was like, I was willing to sacrifice the next 10, 12 years of my life if I have to. That's why I didn't have any more children with my child's father because I was literally, I knew I needed to leave. And with that situation, you know what I'm saying? She told me, she said, well, Santoria, you're doing this as a way to keep control over what happens in your child's life. She's like, but God is in control. And I had to, me and God we had to battle that thing out where I was like, all right, God, because I really was like, all right, I'm gonna give control of her to you. But I'm
Yes.
trusting you, Lord. I'm trusting you that
Mm.
she's not gonna have that childhood that I have. And I speak
Right.
those things. I speak it as if they were. I tell God exactly what I want for my daughter. More parents probably need to do that too. Like we speak these affirmations over our lives, but tell God, God, my child is going to have a childhood. She's going to have a childhood free from trauma. Lord, I declare and I claim and I receive that
Yes.
she's not going to have to spend her whole adult life recovering from things that she had to deal with in her childhood. I receive and I declare and I walk in faith and belief that you are writing this, that it's already written, that it's already done. You know what I'm saying? And so, because of that,
Absolutely.
giving up that control to God has really been instrumental in my life as a parent. Because at first, honey, it had me all types of jacked up and trapped up in the situation. It was all bad. It started off really all bad. I should not have been in that situation, but I was terrified.
Yes. That's so good. Like
I love that.
literally.
Speaking into existence.
Yes, and like I had what's so crazy is like I had written down some questions, but it's like literally you've literally hit every point, and that's just so powerful in itself. Like you literally answer all my questions in one. Um, you know what I'm saying? Because those things do, you know, childhood traumas and different things do lead to other things and other habits that you may pick up and normalize, and it does take, I feel like, that therapy to really help you self-reflect and identify those things that are just not so
Yes,
healthy.
and I mean, God forbid, it affects the kids in a negative way.
Yes.
My mom has had an extremely difficult life, and I feel like with her not getting some of the help that she needed earlier, she's getting help now. Thank goodness for that. But I think because of the traumas that she was dealing with, I mean, it affected her kids' lives so much. Being overprotective and worried and anxiety and not dealing with those things. I just like you guys said, I just want my kid to have a better life than me, the best life I can provide for them. That's my ultimate goal.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's so, and that's why, I thought that these topics, would run together in a sense. And in the future, I may break them down and do them separate, because I know that there's going to be a lot of questions and a lot of people still trying to find understanding in it. But it's just, it's all in your time, and whenever you feel that, because if you're doing it just because someone else is telling you, oh, you need to forgive this person, or oh, you need to heal from that in order to move on in your life, or oh, you need to go see a therapist to help you deal with that. If you're not really feeling it and you're not doing it with the intentions to grow, it's going to all be for nothing. So it has to be something that you're willing to do, but also take it serious, and to seek that help. And if you don't, and I feel like a lot of people don't feel comfortable asking people because they feel like they're going to be judged, or like, I can't imagine going through, what you experienced, Santoria, and then still sharing your story with so many, hundreds of strangers, of people that you don't know. Like, that in itself, just exudes strength. Like, I can't imagine, but there's people out there who may experience worse or may have not, and don't even know how to even start that conversation, or how to reach out to someone, or how to move forward.
Right, not not know
Mhm.
how to go on with life, and then they hear your story and all of the great things that you're still doing and accomplishing. I'm so happy that you came on to speak about this. Somebody out there needed to hear it.
I know I did,
Mhm.
and I appreciate you opening up 100%, because like I said, I've been following you for some time, and some of the things I've heard you say, but a lot of these things that you're saying is just like, breathing life in and just positivity into me. It just is so powerful. And that's why I'm so happy that you was able to come on and take the time to come on and speak and really open up. And I knew in my spirit it was going to be productive, it was going to be good. And so I'm walking away with a lot of different outlooks and knowledge in myself, so I know that the listeners will too. And I just hope that it does touch them in a place where people will feel more empowered to do these things, to
Mhm.
seek forgiveness, not for no one else, but for yourself. Like, it's about you and growing and being able to get to that next place in life, and where you're trying to go, you know?
I know I'm gonna need to
Mhm.
pick up the phone and tell some people I might actually. Okay, I forgive you. I do,
Yeah.
but
And I encourage you, when you do that though, like really like talk to, just talk to yourself about it first, talk to God about it first. And some people, honey, you don't, it don't even require you to tell them whatever it is. They're just going to see it. They're going to see it in your actions towards
hmm
them. They're going to see it in, the way, and in the way you just continue to grow and prosper in life. Because people that let go of that and that really do forgive, they start to, you notice the doors start to open up for them. So some of these people, you may not even have to pick up the phone and call and tell them that you forgive them. They just gonna know. They're gonna like, wow, she really ain't carrying that hate from you no more, huh? Wow, I really didn't break her down like I thought I did,
right.
huh? Wow, she really let it go, huh? She really over it, huh? She out here
Yes.
happy and loving on folks and giving to folks and just they can be like, wow, don't nobody who really hates some people who can do that don't hate people.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
And a lot of times, people who you're forgiving may not even seek your forgiveness, or even know that
They did
they
something
did
wrong.
something wrong. They may not feel that they did something wrong. And I feel like, a lot of people that I've forgiven in my life may have not even apologized. But like I said, it's not for them, it was for me, because I was trapped. I was stuck in that, that hate, or that just that ill will. Like, I was trapped in that. So, you
Mhm.
don't have to feel pressure to, reach out to someone because then it might be a whole thing where they want to go into it and want to break it down. I don't owe you that. What I did was I
Mhm.
forgave you, and you can do that, like she said, by yourself, in your room, in the shower, wherever it is. And, whenever you feel the need to do that and it comes to you, and you genuinely, wholeheartedly forgive that person, you'll know.
Mhm.
But it is a definitely the beginning to healing. And you know the the therapy is just the cherry on top, honestly. So
Yep.
I'm so excited. This was such a good segment. I cannot even just wait to like listen to it tonight and just listen to it all over again. Like I'm one of those people like I literally compartmentalize everything and I just kind of things that are just so powerful like this. Like I always just go back and I'll listen to it over and over again. So I'm super excited. I want to thank you again, Santoria, for coming on today, taking the time out to talk with us, to share your story, and to just be open and just willing. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me. And like you said, I really hope, here soon we can get together in person and meet. I
Yes.
feel like, I don't know what it is, but like I said,
Oh,
I
it's
don't.
coming soon. They lifted the what is it? The curfew or
Oh
ban?
yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
said that the numbers and stuff is dropping and people being smart.
Mhm.
Yes. But
Yeah. Looking forward to meeting you too. And again, thank you, ladies, both for having me on the show. It's been a great conversation.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I continue. I can't wait to just watch the show continue to grow, and you guys both continue to do amazing things as mothers, as entrepreneurs, as just amazing women that you are. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, we
yes.
appreciate that. Speak that. Definitely. Still, let us know. Let everybody know where they can find your book, what you're working on, anything coming up in the future.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
social
So.
media.
Yeah, so my social media, I have a business page. I really don't use it. So I used to tell people follow my personal page because I'm probably going to consolidate them. You can find me on IG at Santoria underscore Marie, and that's Santoria. Santoria underscore Marie. And then on Facebook, just Santoria Sawyer. And then in terms of where you can find my book, you can find it on Amazon. There's a book called Broken Crayon Still Color. It's different than mine. Mine is called The Broken Crayon That Colored Still. It's on Amazon, or you can purchase it on my website, which is www.santoriaspeaks.com. And that's SPEAKS, santoriaspeaks.com. Yeah, and
How
that's it.
how
I'm
was the
working on.
actual how was the actual process to write in your book, put it out there? Do you is that something you see yourself doing again, or was that more so just like your testimony, or because
Yep,
that's
I'm working
great.
on book number two as we speak.
Oh,
The process,
Oh,
wonderful.
that's great.
the process itself was pretty. It was okay. It wasn't too bad, but it was definitely a learning experience. Some things I'm definitely gonna do different this time. But yeah, I self published, and so yeah, it was like I said, it wasn't too bad. It took me about 3 months once I really got serious to
Okay.
actually self publish. But I had been writing those stories for years, because a lot of the first each chapter in my book opens up with like a journal entry from back then.
Oh wow.
So I had been writing for years, and then I just wrote the second half of the journal entry, um, like basically the second half, not the second half of the journal entry, but I wrote the second half of each chapter in real time.
Okay.
So that's the way I set it up, is like it opens up with a story from back then, and then the chapter ends with what I took from that particular story. And so, yep, I'm working on book number two, and I'm sure the goal is to have it published this fall, sometime maybe October. But we shall see, because I'm also working on something else that I'm really, really excited about. I do network marketing, and I absolutely love, love, love it. I do it with a vacation club slash lifestyle club. So that's how I'm able to travel so much. We have a lot of fun. We save a lot of money. We make a lot of money. So because of that, I'm super focused on that right now. So if that's taken up a lot of my time, willingly and excitingly, actually. So, but again, the another goal, like I said, is to get that book published and hopefully start doing some like coaching programs, start doing some courses like webinars and things like that for people on around this topic and on the topic of self publishing. So,
That's amazing.
Awesome.
And I'm looking forward to you and seeing you do all those things. I'm
Yes.
so excited. And it'll definitely give us a reason to reconnect because I'm definitely going to be checking in. Definitely going to be needing some, words of wisdom. And I know I heard you speak before about accountability, having an accountability partner. So those things, and just watching your progression and the things that you're doing is just going to make me be more accountable in itself.
Hmm.
So I'm
Mhm.
excited to see those things, and watch you grow and see those things. So I'm excited, and I want to just, like I said, thank you again. Everybody that does not or haven't already, go buy Santoria's book. It sounds amazing. I definitely need to read it, and I'm looking forward to book two, and all the things that's going to help me grow as a woman, as a mother. So I'm excited for that.
Yes,
Yes.
me too, Mama. And you guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks to everyone that's listening. Definitely reach out to me if you guys have any questions or whatever, or just need some words of wisdom. And it's been amazing talking to you, ladies.
Yes,
Yes, we
thank you. Well,
appreciate
you
you.
enjoy
Thank
the
you.
rest of your Friday night, and we'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
That was amazing. I'm so happy. Well, you guys, that was it. That was the
Right. I mean,
forgiveness, healing, and therapy.
happy birthday to Tajay. I hope she's enjoying herself. But
Yes,
I'm glad
yes.
I
We
got
miss you,
to
girl. We miss
come and
you.
hang out and listen to this topic. God was speaking to me. I need to get some things off my heart. So,
Yes, yes. Well, I'm super excited. I want to thank all the listeners, all of the support I've been getting, or we've been getting with this podcast. It's been growing,
yes.
and I'm just super excited to see where it's going. I would love for you guys to DM me any topics that you may have. If you feel that you have a story that you want to tell or some helpful information that you want to share, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm open to having guests on. We're still trying to stay COVID safe. So I'm able to, do remote calls and different things like that to keep everyone safe. So please feel free to reach out to me, DM me on Instagram, Smiley B, SMILLEE_B. On Facebook, it's Rakita Brown. And Eva, you want to give them your.
Yes, my Instagram is eva.g. That's eva.g_614. I had a blast. This was a great time. I'm definitely looking forward to um, joining the Shebo crew in the future. Hopefully, Tajay as well. I'll get to sit and hang out with her. I hope she's having a great time. But just thank you for this platform. People need to hear this information so they know that they can move on. It's possible. It's just great to hear other women's strength. So thank you, Rakita, for this.
Oh,
I'm so
thank you.
proud. I really am. So
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. And I thank you for taking the time out to come on as well. Hopefully, it does, help you as well. And that maybe you feel more comfortable to come on more in the future. And maybe it might, be permanent. We'll
Who
see.
knows?
But yes, everybody go shout out Tajay, Simply One Taj on Instagram. It's her birthday. That's why she's
Yes.
absent this week. We love you, girl. Enjoy your birthday. We want to say thank you all again, all you guys, all the listeners. Thank you again, Shebo crew. We love you guys. And until next time.
Bye.